Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most men won't say out loud. When a man truly loves a woman, his mind is constantly painting pictures of the future with her. Now, don't get it twisted. I ain't talking about just surface level stuff. I'm talking about deep down desires, the kind that live in the back of a man's heart. Men fantasize about what they want to do for the woman they love, not just what they want to do with her. When a man falls in love, the very first fantasy that begins to play in his head is the one about being her protector. And I'm not talking about just stepping in when somebody disrespects her. I'm talking about something deeper, something that lives in the core of his soul. A man dreams about being the one who stands between his woman and anything that could ever harm her. He pictures himself as the wall, the shield, the first line of defense against every danger, every worry, every single storm life can throw her way. That's a natural instinct. It's wired into him. He could be the gentlest man in the room, but if he loves her, he imagines himself becoming a lion when her safety or her peace is on the line. You see, when he's out in the world and he thinks about her walking home late at night, he's already fantasizing about being there, holding her hand, making sure no shadow feels threatening. When he hears about tough situations, his imagination kicks in and he places himself right there, shielding her, saying to himself, if she was mine, I would never let her feel unsafe like that. That's the dream a man carries, because love triggers that protector spirit. He can be playful, he can be laid back, but that one woman who captures his heart turns him into a soldier in his own mind. And it's not just about physical danger. A man fantasizes about protecting her heart too. He wants to be the one who makes sure nobody talks down to her, nobody makes her feel small, nobody drains her spirit. In his fantasies, he steps in before life gets too heavy. He lifts the burden. He tells her she's safe in his presence. He wants to protect her from the cruel words of people, from disappointments, from stress that robs her of sleep. If he truly loves her, he's imagining himself as that safe space where she can drop every mask and know she's secure. Think about how powerful that is. He could be sitting in traffic, music playing, but in his mind, he's running scenarios. He's saying to himself, if somebody came at her, I'd step right in. If life knocked her down, I'd be the hand that pulls her back up. And ladies, you may never even know these thoughts are running in his head, because men don't always talk about their fantasies, but make no mistake, when he loves you, his mind is busy writing stories where he's your defender. It also shows up in small ways. He fantasizes about walking on the outside of the sidewalk so the cars are closer to him than to you. He imagines driving late at night so you don't have to worry about the road. He pictures himself fixing things in the house so you never have to stress about being vulnerable. All those little protective acts aren't just habits. They're pieces of the fantasy he's been living in his head from the day he realized you were the one. There's something else that makes this fantasy so strong. It gives him purpose. A man needs to feel useful in love. Protecting the woman he loves in his mind makes him feel worthy, makes him feel like he's standing tall in his role. He might not always say, I fantasize about protecting you, but you'll see it in how he positions himself, how he looks at you when you're upset, how he gets restless when he feels he can't do anything about your pain. That restlessness is his imagination wishing he could take every bullet, every hit, every wound for you. And here's the truth. This fantasy doesn't fade with time. Even years later, when you've built a life together, when the fire of new love has turned into the warmth of partnership, that protective fantasy is still there. He still imagines jumping up if there's a strange noise at night. He still imagines telling off anyone who dares to cross you. He still runs through silent promises in his head. I got you. As long as I'm breathing, I got you. That's what love does to a man. It puts him in a state of readiness, constantly imagining, constantly fantasizing about being the one who keeps his woman safe in every way. It's not about control. It's not about ownership. It's about devotion. His fantasy is to make sure nothing in this world ever breaks the woman he loves, because deep down, his greatest dream is to be her protector until the day he takes his last breath. When a man falls in love, one of the strongest fantasies that lives in his mind is about providing the best life he possibly can for his woman. And let me be clear, that doesn't mean every man dreams of being a millionaire or living in some big mansion. No, it's about much more than money. It's about the feeling he wants her to have when she's with him, the feeling that she doesn't have to carry the world on her back all by herself anymore. Deep down, a man wants to provide comfort, stability, and peace of mind. And when he's in love, he fantasizes about being the one to give her that every single day. See, a man can be broke just starting out, but even then his imagination is running wild. He's dreaming about taking her to nice places, giving her little surprises, setting up a home where she feels safe, where she can rest without worry. He's saying to himself, one day I'm going to get her that house. I'm going to get her that car. I'm going to take her on that trip. And it's not even about the material thing itself. It's about the look on her face when she realizes she's loved, cared for, and thought about. That's what fuels a man's fantasy. The chance to give her something she didn't even ask for, just because he wants to. And don't think it's only about gifts. Providing in a man's fantasy stretches way beyond money. He's thinking about creating a life where she has security. He imagines himself stepping up, paying bills on time, keeping food in the fridge, handling emergencies when they come. He fantasizes about her never having to second guess if she's okay because she knows he's got it covered. That's why men push themselves harder when they're in love. That fantasy of providing the best life is what makes him go after promotions, what makes him stay up late planning, what makes him grind even when he's tired. In his head, he's building a future for her. A man also fantasizes about providing emotionally. That surprises people, but it's true. When he's really in love, he dreams about being the calm in her storm, the voice she can run to when she's overwhelmed. He imagines her calling him after a long day, and in his mind, he already has the right words to soothe her. He fantasizes about holding her when she cries, celebrating with her when she wins, and always making sure she feels seen. That's a form of provision too. Providing peace, providing reassurance, providing joy. In his imagination, he sees himself fixing problems she doesn't even know are coming. He's thinking, if the car breaks down, I'll handle it. If the bills pile up, I'll figure it out. If she gets sick, I'll be right there making soup, sitting by her side. That's love working on it. That's a fantasy, shaping how he carries himself. Even when he doesn't have much, he's still picturing ways to give her everything he can. And the beauty of it is, every man's fantasy of providing looks different, but the root is the same. He wants her to feel secure. He wants her to feel proud. He wants her to feel like she's got a man who won't ever let her down. Maybe he pictures himself giving her financial freedom. Maybe he pictures himself giving her emotional stability. Maybe it's both. But the heart of the fantasy is the same. He doesn't want her to struggle. He doesn't want her to doubt. He wants her to look at him and know this man is here for me, and with him, I don't have to fear tomorrow. It's the powerful thing, because that fantasy becomes his drive. It makes him push through failure, setbacks, and obstacles, because in his head, he sees her smile when he finally gives her the life she deserves. He's not just working for himself anymore. He's working for love. He's working for the fantasy of building a world where the woman he loves wakes up every day feeling secure and cared for. And that's why when a man is in love, providing isn't a burden, it's a dream. It's something he's constantly picturing, constantly striving toward, because deep inside, his greatest fantasy is not just loving her in words, but showing it through the life he builds for her. When a man is in love, one of the strongest fantasies that lives in his mind is about making his woman proud. That may not sound flashy like buying gifts or taking trips, but for a man, it's everything. Deep down, a man craves the approval of the woman he loves. He may act tough. He may act like he doesn't care about opinions, but when it comes to her, her opinion matters more than the whole world's come. He dreams about the day she looks at him and says, "That's my man, and I'm proud of it." That moment in his imagination is bigger than any trophy, bigger than any paycheck, bigger than any applause. Men live with this fantasy because pride from their woman touches their soul. You see, when he's working hard, when he's hustling, when he's chasing his goals, he's not just doing it for himself. In his head, he's replaying that image of her smiling, bragging on him, talking to her friends or her family, saying how lucky she is to have him. That thought alone makes him stand up straighter, makes him go harder, makes him refuse to quit. He fantasizes about giving her that feeling because to him, her pride is proof that his love means something. It doesn't have to be about big accomplishments either. Sometimes a man fantasizes about the little things that make her proud. He dreams about her looking at him when he's fixing something around the house, when he's helping the kids with homework, when he's carrying the groceries without being asked. He imagines that look in her eyes, that soft smile that says, "You're my man and I appreciate you." That's the fantasy. Her admiration, her respect, her joy in having him by her side. And let me tell you something, when a man really loves a woman, he pays attention to what makes her proud. He'll notice how she lights up when he takes care of business, how she brags when he stays disciplined, how she praises him when he shows kindness. In his imagination, he's replaying those moments and building a whole world where that look in her eyes never fades. He fantasizes about being consistent enough, strong enough, successful enough, faithful enough that she never has to second guess telling people, "Yes, that's my man." It's a powerful motivator. A man may struggle with self-doubt. He may battle insecurities, but his fantasy of making her proud becomes the fuel that pushes him through. He's thinking, "I can't quit because if I quit, I'll let her down." He imagines her telling people about his hard work, his determination, his character. That's why he stays in the game. That's why he keeps fighting. Her pride is the crown he dreams of wearing every single day. And it's not always about achievement. Sometimes a man fantasizes about making her proud of the way he loves her. He imagines her talking to her friends and saying, "This man treats me right. He respects me. He honors me." That's the kind of thing that gets locked in a man's head. He wants her to be able to walk into any room, hold her head high, and know she is loved well. He fantasizes about being the example people point to when they say, "That's how a real man loves a woman." Every man's fantasy looks a little different, but the heart of it is always the same. He wants her to shine because of him. He wants her to feel lucky, not stressed. He wants her to look at him and feel like she made the best choice of her life. That's what he's imagining in those quiet moments. That's what keeps him striving, improving, growing. A man in love isn't just living for himself anymore. He's living for that smile of pride on her face, that glow in her voice when she talks about him, that unspoken bond that says, "I chose him and he's worth it." And if that meant anything, that's the fantasy that drives men deeper than anything else. The chance to be her pride, her brag, her joy, her safe choice. And once a man loves a woman, he'll spend his life chasing that image, that dream, that moment where her eyes tell him he's enough. When a man truly loves a woman, one of the sweetest fantasies that takes root in his heart is the idea of making her laugh and keeping her smiling. Now, that might sound simple, but to a man in love, it's everything. A smile from the woman he loves feels like sunshine breaking through the clouds, and he can't help but dream of being the one who brings that light into her life. He imagines moments where her face lights up because of something he did or said, and that picture in his mind fuels him more than anything else. See, men know life isn't always easy. There are bills to pay, struggles to fight, days that weigh heavy. But in the middle of all that, a man fantasizes about being the reason she still laughs, the reason she still finds joy. He imagines cracking a silly joke after a long day, seeing her stress melt away as she bursts out laughing. He sees himself turning her mood around, giving her relief from the weight of the world. Even if just for a moment, that thought stays with him, because when he loves her, her happiness becomes his mission. It's not just about being funny either. Sometimes it's about being playful, teasing her in a way that makes her giggle, surprising her with little things that make her smile. He pictures himself sending her random texts during the day just to make her laugh at work. He imagines the way she looks at him when he says something goofy and how she shakes her head but can't stop smiling. That image sticks in his heart because it's a sign that he's doing something right. A man may not admit it out loud, but laughter is one of his love languages. He fantasizes about filling her life with it. He wants her to remember the good times more than the hard ones. He wants her to look back years later and think, "This man never stopped making me laugh." That's the fantasy, being her source of joy in a world that can often be too serious. It's also about comfort. A man imagines making her feel so at ease with him that she can laugh freely without holding back. He dreams about being the safe space where she can act silly, where she can be herself without judgment, where her laughter echoes because she feels completely free. He knows that if he can keep her smiling, she will always associate him with peace, warmth, and happiness. And that in his heart is priceless. Men also fantasize about the little shared moments that laughter creates. He imagines watching a movie with her, both of them cracking up at the same scene. He pictures inside jokes only they understand, jokes that no one else gets, but make the two of them laugh until tears roll down their faces.